Okay, Brandon Hoffman and Tripp Davis here again, and today we're going to talk about some common mortgage myths with you guys. I hear these things a lot. They're wrong. We want you guys to be knowledgeable so you can go get a good mortgage and buy a house. All right, so Tripp, I'm just going to make a statement and you tell us if it's true or false. And
Okay.
why it's false, because I think they're all false.
Okay.
So, all right, Tripp, online lenders are easier to work with. I hear this quite a bit. They want to go get their rocket mortgage and everything
Right.
out there.
Right. Very much disagree with this one. The first and foremost is I think you'll find that local lenders will have more experience. They will have been in the business for longer and provide better service in that regard. Secondly, from a contact standpoint, anytime you call me, this is my phone, and you will get me. You will get me every time, as opposed to whether or not you catch the person that's on the shift with a mortgage online mortgage company. And then lastly, if I don't do a great job for you, Brandon, then you can't recommend me anymore. And online lenders, they just work the numbers. And if you fit in their box, then it's great. And if not, then it's just another number to them.
That's right. When I give bad recommendations, people don't want to use me anymore. So I like my customers to have a good experience. Next, hear this a lot. I'm saving money for a house so I can have 20% down.
Right.
Do you need 20% down to buy a house?
We do not need 20% down. We have FHA at 3.5% down. VA with no money down, USDA with no money down, conventional loan products starting with 3% down. I would say in today's market, it's probably fewer than 1 in 10 that actually put 20% down in our active buyers.
I'm actually surprised it's as many as 1 out of 10 or
Yeah.
close to it. All right. CO 100 is a fancy name for a termite report. Tripp, all loans need a clear CO 100.
VA loans need a clear CO 100. Most other products will not have to have it unless it's required by, or made, a notification is made by the appraiser when they do the inspection that there's something that needs to be looked into.
And that includes USDA loans that have pretty strict guidelines. All right, Tripp, you must have a great credit score to buy a house.
We do loans commonly down to 560, 580, 600, depending on the program. So let's take a look at your credit and see where you are and see what we can do to get it there. But that is a misconception that you have to have a high credit score in order to get a loan.
Okay. Mortgages are only available in 15 or 30-year notes.
Mortgages can be available in 25 years. They can be available in 20-year denominations, 15 and 10s and 30s and 15s, and then you have the different arms and products like that. And we just look at everybody's situation and see what's the best thing to hit their overall goal.
All right. If you have a foreclosure or short sale on your record, you need to wait 7 years to buy a house.
That is a misconception. So FHA will allow you to buy after 3 years. And VA generally doesn't have a specific guideline, but generally I'm seeing those 1 year removed from foreclosure. And then there are some non-conforming products that will let you foreclose on Tuesday and buy on Wednesday. So let's talk about everybody's situation and what the circumstances are behind it, and see if it makes sense to do something to move forward now.
You cannot have 2 VA loans at the same time.
This I hear a lot, and sadly enough, I'm hearing it from veterans who think that because they've used it before, or because they have a house in another market, or that they have a house and they want to move up, that they can't use another one. That is not the case. You can have 2 active VA loans at the same time. You can use one, pay it off, and reuse it again. There's a limit at some point to how much in dollars you can do, but we can evaluate your situation and see where you are and see when and how much money you have left in VA eligibility.
A pre-qualification and a loan approval are the same thing.
A pre-qualification means that your credit's been run and a brief discussion has been had about the particulars of your situation, and by all appearances to the loan originator, you qualify. A pre-approval means that we've gone through some processing phases, gathered some documentation, and it's been presented to underwriting, and the underwriter still believes, after evaluating your documentation, that you're still going to qualify.
All right, the next one is the one I hate the most because I hear it most frequently. I don't want to get a pre-qualification because it will lower my credit score.
I would say, Brandon, that 9 times out of 10, when we look at people's credit in advance, rather than lowering their score, if we're going to have to pull it again by 5 points, we see an opportunity to gain 20 or 30 points and move them up 1 credit rung to improve their pricing or improve which programs they're eligible for by getting in early while there's still time to positively impact their situation. So that's definitely a misconception.
I hate that one. My least favorite. It's hard to get a pre-qualification.
It takes about 10 minutes in most circumstances, unless you've got a really complicated situation. Then it could take longer. But if it is going to take longer, if you do have a complicated situation, that's all the more reason to get started earlier in the process and get rolling. But for most people, a pre-qualification is going to take a 10-minute conversation. We'll jump off the phone and run your situation, and then call you back a little while later just to tell you what we find and what the options are from there.
Okay. Next one's kind of a toughie, but I can buy a house with no money down. Is it possible to buy a house if you have nothing in your account?
It is possible to buy money with nothing in your account. There are 0% down loan programs such as USDA, such as the VA loan. There are down payment assistance programs such as state housing, which will compensate for cover for your required down payment. Then you have to work with your real estate agent to structure the closing costs on some of these. VA and USDA don't require a down payment, but they don't cover the closing costs in most circumstances. So you would work with your real estate agent to know that you're asking for enough to cover the closing costs. We work together to determine how much, and then the real estate agent negotiates it into your offer.
What about needing reserves in the account to show some money there?
Reserves are required for manual underwrites, and that's going to happen when you have lower credit scores. But generally, with reserve requirements, if you're qualifying for a loan, it means you have some form of income. So if you've got income that comes in at the first of the month, we get your bank statement on the second of the month, and there's our snapshot that shows that you at that time had reserves, and we can lend based on that.
My parents are going to co-sign.
Co-signers, co-borrowers are okay. Co-signer would mean that there's a limited level of involvement. A co-borrower is fully involved just like you are. So co-borrowers are allowed and are common today. In order to have two borrowers or co-borrower on a loan, you're going to have a 620 credit score for each borrower pair. That's still pretty reasonable to obtain for most people, and we can work together, and that is very helpful to people in helping to get some additional income to help qualify for a loan.
Okay, last one I've got for you. USDA rural housing loans are great for manufactured homes.
USDA will only do a manufactured home if it is brand new at the time that the loan is originated. So other than that, we just can't do them. We have great FHA loans and conventional loans and VA loans for manufactured housing, but we're generally, for an existing manufactured home, we're not able to use the USDA loan.
My man Tripp rocked it out over here. I'm going to link, if you want to get a pre-qualification and you're in South Carolina, I'm going to link his information below so you can go do your online application. Like you said, it takes 10 minutes. If there's any suggestions he's got to bump your credit score up or a particular loan type, he'll get back to you on it. Thank you, Tripp.
Thanks, Brandon.